know me.
So congrats on your new role. That is amazing. What is it? So I was just telling them that it feels like you were in the trenches and now you're here.
Yeah, so now I am the LTA commissioner, upgraded from LCS commissioner, and previously coming from the world of talent. It's been a pretty fast journey, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, what has that been like?
It's been very, very busy. I think the first year was a very challenging first year in a sense, where not only did I have to like ramp up and learn all these things, where coming from the talent side, like I knew the show, I knew the production, the game, all these sorts of things, but learning some more of the back end business, how Riot works, all these sorts of things, having to level up on that front while also knowing that we had this huge change coming between 2024 and 2025, and working on that with everyone was a, trying to juggle a lot of balls at once, like learning on the go while also needing to plan a lot of big changes.
Did you go to school for any of this, like business stuff or anything?
No, I went to school for game design development. I got a bachelor's in that, and then I had a minor in philosophy. So yeah, nothing business related. But my family, a lot of them have had like a lot of interest in business. My dad did a lot of startups and stuff. So I guess it's kind of in the blood.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the LTA rebrand. Why LTA and why now?
So we put out a lot of very in-depth conversation last year around kind of the need to change a lot of the macroeconomic way that the esports scene was kind of functioning. We moved more towards tying it with game assets as opposed to being based on sponsorships. There's a lot of reasons for that. I won't. If you want to go deep on that, we can. But there's a big shift and changes in the ecosystem we need to mirror that shift. And so one of those ones was looking at regions where it made sense to kind of combine. And so for the Americas, we had the LCS, CBLOL, and LLA previously. And we looked at a lot of different models that would make sense for the communities that existed there and what we could best do to serve them. And we felt like this LTA approach was the best one that we could do. So we have two conference structure that's very unique to us in the Americas versus the other regions in the world. And we went with the rebrand because there was a lot of history with each of those other brands, and it was hard to find one that would work with all three audiences. If it was just like LCS South, like that wouldn't feel good for CBLOL. And so we had to kind of position ourselves for the future. We understood that there would be, for fans who love these brands, a bit of pain saying goodbye to them and sunsetting them. But I think when you're looking long term, this brand is more encompassing of what the product is now, which is something for all of America, is not just one of the previous communities.
Yeah, and actually, how has the fan reaction been?
It's been up and down. I think anytime you have big changes, there's always going to be this kind of shock to the system initially. The fact that you have these changes, there's this attachment to them, and it takes time, partially to come to terms with it, but also to understand sometimes the need for the changes and then where it's going to be going in the future. And we haven't formally launched yet, even. It feels like it's been forever since we started unveiling all this stuff. But I think for fans, I think a lot of them, depending on how invested they are, for some people, they might only be aware of the surface level rebrand. They might not be aware of all the changes. So we're doing our best to put out information, talk with the communities, share our reasoning, why we felt this was necessary, why this is a good thing in the overall, and kind of bring them along with the decision. And then once the season starts spinning up and they see it in action, I think they'll be really excited with what we've created.
Okay, so what are you most excited for fans to see with the new structure and everything?
The cross-conference competition. Okay. I think it's really, really cool to have this moment before an international where you have these two separate competing groups come together beforehand and duke it out for who gets to move on to that next stage. Most other leagues are single league in a region. They all play against each other in the regular season, then they have a playoffs or something similar to that structure. There are little variances everywhere, but I think it's cool for us to have the kind of hyper-local conference level in the North and South, and then this kind of moment where they get to battle each other. So that's why for Split 1, it's a lot faster because we wanted to get to that moment right away and kind of have this rivalry competition that's going on.
People were wondering why the return to best of one.
You're coming in hot. All right.
Yeah.
So for us, best of ones was something we've always had. And when I say we, I don't just mean LCS previously, but also CBLOL and LLA. And it's best of ones have been something that all the regions have had before. And in Split 1 and Split 3, we're being a lot more experimental. We're doing a lot of aggressive kinds of competitions where bottom teams get knocked out pretty quickly versus the longer stages of play. And we feel like it is the right product decision to have this sort of time period where it is a little bit more stable. And best of ones provide a lot of opportunities and benefits for a product so that you have more matchups happening. So that way people play against each other more. Players get to play against each other more. Teams get to play against each other more. Everyone's on stage every single day. There's more interviews happening. There's more content happening. And since this is the launch year of the league and you're bringing in all these new audiences, all these new players, teams, fans, it was really important to us to have this kind of time period where we can put the best foot forward for all of these things and allow fans to see who they're connecting with, what they like and not. And so I know for a lot of the hyper competitive community, for the people who love best of threes, they love the series competition. I totally get why they want best of threes, but best of ones do a lot of things as well. And we're always going to listen and adapt. It just felt like for the first year, having this would do a lot for the product. And that's kind of what our focus was on.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of your decisions are based not in, just in terms of professional sense, but also you as a fan, right? It seems like a lot of that is what takes place in your mind with making these different changes.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's things that I like that I would do that, but it's about what's going to be the best for the long term in the big picture. And so, it's we always listen to fan comments. We always listen to sentiment. We're always going to try to do our best to do what the fans are wanting us to do. But sometimes we also look at other factors and things that are going to influence these decisions and try and take those into account too. And then when we make those decisions, communicate to them, to the fans. For the people who love best of threes, I'm sure what I just said, they don't care about it. And it's like, I hear you guys too, but we still feel like this is the right call for now.
Yeah. How do you feel about the new season structure for League in general?
I love it. I think it gives a lot of good motivation for introducing new gameplay systems and things like that. Like they had Otacon, which I didn't know the lore. I was watching Necrit videos and be like, what the hell is this thing? And then oh, there's a reason, there's some creature that exists that they're introducing onto the Rift. And I think that's a really cool adaptation to the formula because every year they introduce new things and it's like what the designers cook up and it's always cool to see what they come up with. But now there's a more cohesive lore and all these things coming together to motivate these things, which I think is really, really interesting. And then on the esports side, to lean into that and show those things off in the best way that we can.
Yeah, with the esports side and the new season system, I'm assuming that's probably going to go hand in hand with the different changes and all that.
Yeah, we are super committed to bringing game and sport closer together is kind of what we like to say. I think at the end of the day, people love League of Legends, and what we want to do is showcase the best kind of League of Legends, played at the highest level, but then also show off all the other things that exist in the game with people who are some of the best in the world. So when a new champion comes out, we love to try and get early access to it, work with the game team to get our pros hands-on. Same with any skins that might resonate with people. Any of the things that we can do, we love doing that. And I think it is a really good showcase of what's coming in League is to utilize, we're right across the street from the main studio. It's one of our advantages in the Americas. And so we're always trying to get people, devs, and access to things.
Yeah, do you think that the studio would ever expand if LTA North just really blew up?
I don't want to promise anything because there's also VCT Americas, which is in Riot Games Arena, and so we share the space with them. We have a really good setup heading into this next year, and I think it's something we always want to maximize the utilization before you consider having to expand and whatnot. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to continue to do cool things already.
Sure. And then one last thing, how do you feel about all the skins and everything being updated to look like Arcane?
So this is a spicy topic, I think.
Ooh.
Well, because some people are diehard. I see the Victor main subreddit. They're like, this is not my Technomancer boy. Now he's this other thing. And I'm like, I get it. I play a ton of Victor. He's one of my mains. I mostly play ARAMs now. But I play Victor all the time. And I also loved Victor in the show. So for me, it was I think this is cool. But I get for some people where their whole identity was wrapped up in the previous skin. But I think it's really cool to tie in the existing media and lore with the game and update things. So I'm a fan.
Sure. Do you think it's helped? I know that we're getting kind of off topic, but do you think that Arcane kind of helped get more casual players into League of Legends?
I think so. I'm not on the insights team to know the conversion rates and attribution and all these things, but I've definitely seen at least tangentially and anecdotally, from the creators I follow that there's a big interest uptick in League. I see a ton of people on Twitch playing that had previously played. I see a lot of people making content about it. So as the esports side, it makes us excited because anytime there's a swell of I think it's a mutually beneficial thing where when people get more interested in League, you introduce them to the esport, they can get hooked on that as well, and it kind of feeds itself.
What would be your biggest piece of advice for people who want to get into League commentating or, anything in the Riot space too?
So for commentating in particular, I think the best thing you can do is kind of just start making content on your own. These days, it's pretty easy with different computer setups or phones or whatever. I think find your own voice, find what makes you unique, what you can bring, and try and find an audience that will be interested in kind of covering that stuff. Can be really analytical deep dives because you have such a great knowledge because you're super high ranked. You could be really funny. You could have good narrative chops, to tell the story of some of the things going on. I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to take a crack at that. And I think that's probably one of the best ways to get noticed, and then figure out where you want to go from there. Live broadcast commentating is a bit of a specialized skill set because it's something where you would have to go and actually do kind of VODs and do your own work and cast it over them and whatnot.
Cool.
And then look for local tournaments or like these sorts of things if you wanted to start getting a little bit more practice and rise through the ranks in a sense. I think in general for people, just check out the LTA. I think it's going to be a really cool time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anytime.
Awesome.